Now, sweet potatoes and arrowroots are among the many foods that we love to have for breakfast for all their nutritional benefits. So today we are at Githunguri and we will be talking to Eunice Wairimu, who will be telling us more about her journey venturing into this type of farming. Welcome to Hela Mchangani. Thank you so much, Eunice Wairimu, for joining us on today's show. I'm sure we're going to learn so much from what you are doing here. As a young farmer, would like to start by asking you, when did you start farming?
For these sweet potatoes, yes, we started a while back because this is a family farm. And we've been farming sweet potatoes since I can remember.
Okay,
yeah,
since
but
you were much younger.
Yes, but for the sweet potatoes that are here at the moment, they're here for 18 months.
18 months?
Yeah, 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you're looking very young. Is this your full-time job or do you have somewhere else that you work?
For now, it's my full-time job.
Okay.
Yes,
Were
I
you
decided
working
to
before?
do farming full-time.
Okay. Were you working before that?
Yes, I was. I've actually done a bachelor's degree in travel and tourism.
Wow.
So I was in the hospitality industry for quite a while.
Okay.
And then I decided to leave so that I can further my studies,
Yes,
do probably a master's and still do farming as a side business. But then there was so much to do in the farming sector, so I decided to go full-time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And is it only sweet potatoes that you're growing or have you ventured into something else as well?
I've also done arrowroots and horticulture, just vegetables. Yes, I have cauliflower, I have broccolis, kales, African nightshade, that's the managu, and spinach. Okay. And also hoho. Wow. Capsicum.
And you could have chosen to do anything else, say when you quit your job, but you chose farming.
Yes.
So what really inspired you to start?
Well, at the moment we are in a situation where we are trying to curb food insecurity.
Yeah.
There are so many people do not have, so many places they don't have like food going there.
Yeah.
So I decided to be a farmer, to start small scale,
yes,
and then later go large scale, and then so that I can be supplying food to places that do not have food. Yeah. So just trying to curb the food insecurity issue in the country.
Well, you've done it for, you said 18 months now.
Yes.
How has it been so far? I mean, before we get into detail, how has it been so far? Have you any regrets of doing farming?
Well, I wouldn't say regrets, but there are ups and downs of farming.
Course, yes.
Yeah, it can be frustrating and at the same time it can be a huge success. Yes, so for the sweet potatoes, it has not been so easy, it has not been so hard.
Yeah.
It's been good, it's been okay.
It's been good.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's get to the topic of the day, which is sweet potatoes, and later on we'll be talking about arrowroots. Sweet potatoes is one of the healthy foods that we all like to take for breakfast sometimes, and most of the people actually don't even know where they come from. They just hear he's in Ingwashes at, let's say, Kisumu, or a place like here in Githunguri. How have you been doing it? Can you tell us how you grow them from the beginning? In terms of, do you plant the stem? How you plant the stem, probably?
Yeah, we actually plant the stem, just the stem itself, the long stem, and then once you put it on the ground, you water it for the first few weeks. But once it shoots, you don't water it anymore.
Wow.
So it just grows and it expands. It shoots other stems, and so it spreads around the ground.
Yeah. And it should be easy to maintain. Is it very labor intensive now
No,
that you said you
it's
don't
not
require
labor
water?
intensive.
Yeah.
It's only at the beginning stages where you have to water and you have to weed. But once it has started shooting and spreading on the ground, it is not labor intensive because weeds do not grow. Since it's already spread on the ground, weeds do not have like a place where they can grow.
And for them to grow, do you use any fertilizer or any stuff like that?
No, we only use manure.
Yes.
We use a mixture of goat and cow manure.
Wow.
So we do not use any fertilizers, we do not use any chemicals. We organically grow them.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is the maturing period of the sweet potatoes?
From the time you plant the stem, it takes around 6 months.
6 months for them to fully grow.
For them to fully grow and for you to harvest.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 6 months, and then from there you can harvest up to 12 months, 18 months. Yes.
Okay, that's more than a year.
Yeah, that's more than a year.
Okay, so when you're harvesting, how long will it take you to harvest that same area again?
It takes 4 weeks. Yeah, so you have to have like a huge portion, so that once you harvest like one area, you go to the next area, then the next week you go to the next area, the next week the next area, then you after the 4 weeks you're back to the other area.
Yeah. So it requires at least a big amount of space, right?
Not so big, because for now, like the area that we have here, it's less than a quarter of an acre. Yeah. So it doesn't require a very huge area. Yeah. Because this is small scale. This is not large scale.
Not large scale.
So I can imagine for a large scale, that's a lot of produce in a week.
For sure.
Yeah.
So there are many types of sweet potatoes. Not very many. I know of 4. There's the purple one. There's the white one.
Yes.
There's the yellow one inside and the white one inside as well.
Yeah.
Which ones are you growing here yourself?
For me, I'm growing the red one outside, and then it's white inside. And then we also have the white one outside, and it's also white inside. Yeah, and it's actually more nutritious than the red one.
Oh yeah. So I hear.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of trying the other ones? Or
yes,
have you had
we have, but we don't know whether the climatic condition for this place is conducive for them. Yeah. So I've actually tried with a small portion to see how it grows.
Yeah.
If it grows well, then we can do that as well. If it doesn't, then we just leave it like that.
What are some of the challenges that you have gone through that you go through with the sweet potatoes?
For the sweet potatoes, they are very, very nutritious, and I think the moles also know they're very nutritious, because the moles are our biggest problem.
Yeah,
that's the only challenge that we have.
Yeah. Talking about the market, how is it for the market for the sweet potatoes? Do you sell them here, or where do you sell them?
We sell them locally, just here at the Githunguri market, and they are on high demand nowadays, since people are looking to eat healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've noticed.
So our market at the moment, it's the local market.
Okay.
Yes.
So how much do you sell, say, to the farmers? Do you sell to people to sell in the market, or do you sell in the market?
Yes, we sell to the retailers, and also to the consumers.
Okay.
Yeah. So for like a whole bag of sweet potatoes, it goes for 2,500 to 3,500. Okay. Yeah, that's a whole bag.
That's like the big sack.
Yeah,
right?
the big sack. Yeah. But when you're selling them to consumers, you sell them in portions of 50 bob, 70 bob, 100 shillings. Yeah, depending on the size also, and depending on how much you want. Yeah.
I've seen some really big ones that you've harvested.
Yes.
Which ones do people prefer? Because those ones look really exaggerated big.
Some people actually prefer that, and that is what they buy. Then for some people, they prefer the smaller ones.
Yes.
You know, sweet potatoes, they are not only taken for breakfast, they can also be used to bake.
Oh,
so you mash them and you bake. So the people who are buying them to bake, they buy the huge ones. They don't mind those ones. Yeah, but for others who are buying them for breakfast or just for any other meal, they prefer the medium-sized ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you plan on enlarging this? Do you plan on going large scale, or this is just it for now?
No, I actually plan on going large scale.
Okay.
Yeah, I plan on feeding a lot of Kenyans.
Okay.
Yeah, and I plan on feeding them in a healthy way.
Wow.
Yes.
So there's so many young people who are out there, probably they're thinking, I can't do farming. There are those people who really discourage you.
Yeah.
And also there are those people who actually don't have jobs. Could you tell us whether it was a challenge for you to start in terms of finances and how you managed to do that?
In terms of finances,
Yeah.
farming, if you already have a small piece of land,
Yes.
farming is not, it does not require a lot of finances,
Yes.
because what you need to do is buy seeds and sow the seeds and they grow, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are organizations that assist farmers, young farmers,
Yes.
and once you like secure, you ask for a loan, they actually give you the loan.
True.
Yes, like
Yeah.
the government right now, it's trying as much as it can
Yeah.
to assist young farmers.
Yes.
And Kenya Youth Fund, if you
yeah.
go, you go with a proposal, tell them you want to start an agribusiness, they assist.
Yes.
Yeah. So you cannot just stay there and say that you cannot start farming because you do not have finances.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many organizations that are there to hold your hand.
Yes.
Yeah, so just start the business and that's it. It's like any other business.
True.
Yeah.
How about advice to farmers who are young, because you're young yourself, someone who would want to venture into farming? What would you advise them to do?
I'll actually encourage them
Yes.
to start to be in agriculture, or rather agribusiness, because it's self-sustaining.
Yes.
Yeah, this is self-employment, and you get to employ other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at the moment, 75% of people in rural areas, they earn some of their living from agriculture.
Yeah.
So
true. Yes.
you'll be self-employed, and you'll also be creating employment for someone else.
Yeah.
Yes, and considering agriculture is among the main contributors of our economic growth,
Yeah.
you'll be a contributor to the economic growth, which
That's
is a
true.
motivation
Yes.
also.
Yeah.
And people have to eat.
Definitely.
People are eating breakfast, lunch, supper, and snacks.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm already growing sweet potatoes, which can be eaten for breakfast, as
Lunch,
a snack,
yes.
as lunch,
Yeah.
as dinner.
Even dinner, yeah.
Yeah. So you will not lack market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We will be taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about arrowroots that Eunice here is growing in her shamba. Welcome back to Hela Mchangani. Now we're talking to Eunice Wairimu about sweet potatoes, and continue, we'll be talking about arrowroots that she is growing here in her shamba in Githongori. And as we were saying, we're talking about sweet potatoes, and of course we've seen how what a great venture it is to venturing. And before we continue to arrowroots, would you compare the benefits of sweet potatoes and arrowroots in terms of growing them, let alone the health benefits? Which one would you prefer to grow?
The sweet potatoes,
Yeah.
because they spread.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like for the arrowroots, it's whatever you've planted, that is what you just get, like one or two
It's
of
just
them.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you mainly get one.
And something else we didn't talk about before for the sweet potatoes, there are these their leaves are also used, right?
Yeah.
For the cows. What
Yes,
do you guys
they
use
are.
them for?
We use them to feed the cows. They are very nutritious, especially for calves. And also for the cows that are for the dairy cows.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very nutritious.
I hear some people eat them as well.
Yeah, actually some people eat them with ugali.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've never tried.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't know, but yes, they're edible.
Yeah. We should try them maybe
Yeah,
at the end of
probably.
the day. Okay. So arrowroots, you also started the same time with the sweet potatoes, or?
They've also been there for a while now. Yeah, but actually they've been there in a very long
Decades.
time. Yeah, because it's a wetland, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the only thing that can do well there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arrowroots, you've talked about now the wetland. Is it that's the only place where you can grow them?
For there are other places also you can grow them,
Yeah.
because other people grow them in papers.
Yes.
But for me, we've grown them at the wetland.
Yeah.
Though we also have some that are grown on dry land, and they're also doing well.
That's
Yeah.
a different type though.
Yeah, that's a different type. But the main type that we have in this area and what I have
Yeah.
is the one for the wetland.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about too much water? Because is there times when you have too much water and then zinaharibika, or has it ever
Yes.
happened to yours?
At times it rains heavily,
Yes.
and since the arrowroots are next to the river like breaks, so the whole place floods. It's also not good because anyway, too much of something is poisonous.
Yes, exactly.
As much as it's a wetland.
Yeah.
So they become a bit soggy.
Yeah.
So we have to go and dig trenches where we direct the water to flow in other places.
Yeah.
Away from the arrowroots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, before we continue with the arrowroots, for the sweet potatoes, because I want us to talk about the harvesting of arrowroots. For the sweet potatoes, how do you harvest them? Are there challenges? Because sometimes you can cut and then in the market they might not take it.
Yeah.
So how do you guys do it?
So we usually check for a bulge on top, and
Yeah.
then you just there at the roots, you just put your hand inside to see if there's a bulge.
Yes.
And then if there's a bulge, that is when you dig in. But at times there can be so many, so there's so many bulges, so you end
Yeah.
up digging, and then you dig the sweet potato.
Wow.
So if it's a very huge hole on the
Yes.
sweet potato, that one will not be accepted at the,
yes.
market.
Yeah.
But if it's just a slight one, that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the arrowroots, do you harvest the same?
Yeah, it's
Do you just
the
dig
same.
the same?
Oh, for the arrowroots now, you don't have to look for a bulge. You just
Yeah.
look at the whole plant at the base. Yeah, then you dig in.
How do you know when it's ready? Okay, what is the maturing period for the arrowroot?
It's also 6 months.
6 months
Yes.
before you can harvest.
Yes, before you can harvest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you just get one from one.
Yes, you just get one
That means
from
you have
a
to take
single plant. So
Yes.
you have to have a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
Do you
For commercial use, you have to have a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good venture for someone as young as you are to actually do in large scale or in a small portion, if you may say?
In
To
large
get your money
scale,
back, yeah.
In large scale, yes. In small scale, it's also good, but you will not get so many yields.
Yes.
Yeah.
So have you ever gone on a loss all this time that you have been doing for the sweet potatoes or the arrowroots? Is there a time that you woke up one day and you found stuff is just not working?
Yes, there are
Yeah.
definitely times you wake up as a farmer. There
Yeah.
are days you wake up and you find that probably a pest has eaten your vegetables, or maybe something just happened. Yeah, for the sweet potatoes, it's rare. It's rare
rare.
it's rare to have a loss. For the arrowroots,
Yeah.
the main problem is flooding.
Yeah,
Flooding, and then they also usually get a disease where the leaves yellow.
Oh,
And then when the leaves yellow, the root itself, it cannot grow well.
Yeah.
So they end up being tiny, like really
Oh,
tiny.
yeah. What are the health benefits of arrowroots as compared to sweet potatoes?
Arrowroots have a great range of benefits.
Yeah.
They are actually, they have a high content of starch, and they can be a replacement for so many food, for so much food. Sorry.
Yeah.
For them, they are really high in protein, and for people who are gluten intolerant, they are good as they can replace the gluten
Yes.
filled products like wheat
Yes.
with arrowroots. Arrowroots, it can be made into a powder, and you can bake your bread, you can bake your
Wow.
cake
Yeah.
with the arrowroot powder, and then it's also used as a food thickener. You can just grate it on your
Oh.
stew.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
you
know
don't
that
have to buy like thickeners from the shops. You can just buy an arrowroot, and it's the healthier option.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And then it's also high in copper and iron, so it's good for people with anemia, and it also prevents anemia, and it's also good for women who are pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah, so arrowroots are
that's a whole lot.
Yeah, that's a whole lot.
I don't think people know about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the arrowroots, do you also have to put manure or fertilizers? How do you maintain them?
Yeah, for the arrowroots, you also need a lot of manure, a lot of it.
Okay.
Yes, we do not use fertilizer or any other chemicals. We only use manure, and mainly we use the goat manure.
It's better.
Yeah, it's better than the cow manure.
Yeah. Where do you get the manure from? Do you guys have goats or you buy?
No, we buy.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that's also a cost.
Yes, that is also a cost.
Can you say like how much you spend in terms of, say, the goat manure plus how much can actually one just spend when they are starting, if you say?
For the goat manure, like a bucket costs 70 to 100 shillings, depending. Yeah. So since it's not a big portion, you do not need a lot of buckets for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
After the 6 months, how long do you harvest for?
There are also like the sweet
potatoes.
Yeah, you harvest them in intervals. Yeah.
Do they grow back?
Yes, they
Does
do
the same
grow back.
crop grow back?
So if once you've uprooted it and you remove the arrowroot, you just grow it. You return the stem back to the ground. Yes, and it grows again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you yourself ever done soil testing for any of your crops, or you just decided to do it?
For the sweet potatoes and the arrowroots, I've not done that. Yeah, but for the vegetables, I'm actually underway.
Okay.
Yes.
It's important.
Yes, it is important. So that you can know what to grow in your farm and what not to grow.
Okay.
Yeah, and what is conducive for the soil that you're growing your things, your produce in, and
When you started, like now full-time farming, did you get any training, or you just decided to follow your mom's footsteps?
Yes, I started with her footsteps.
Yeah.
Because she's been a farmer ever since I was young. So she's my biggest mentor and my biggest cheerleader.
Wow.
So yeah, I followed her footsteps, and then right now we are embracing technology. So many things are coming in, things that were not used long time ago. Yes. So as far as I'm following her footsteps, I'm also learning. Yes, I also have a field consultant that comes to my farm almost on a fortnight basis.
Wow.
Yeah, so to check on the plants and all that. So he also gives me the training.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I also have other mentors who've been in farming before.
Yeah.
So they advise me, and I take notes.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you also train the people who actually work for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you train them?
Yes, I do train them.
Yeah.
And because once someone new comes in, you have to train them on how they're going to do to farm what you want.
Yes.
Yeah, and how and the procedure of everything, and preparing land, sowing the seeds and planting the seedlings, everything. You have to train them.
Okay.
Yes, so that you can get the results that you need. Yes.
Wow. All right, I think we have covered everything to do with sweet potatoes and arrowroots. Is there anything else that you would want to share in terms of someone venturing into farming, or just this kind of farming? Is there anything else?
I'd like to urge farmers
Yeah.
who have not, like the small scale farmers,
Yes.
probably someone who has like a kitchen garden,
Yeah.
to just commercialize the farming.
Yes.
Yeah. No matter how much little you will earn, you're still earning something at the end of the day.
You're right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
instead of just letting the ground be bare, just plant something for home use and also for commercial use. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Eunice, for joining us on today's show. We are going to be going down to the shamba where you have been growing your arrowroots, and we'll be seeing more of that. So growing sweet potatoes or arrowroots is definitely a type of farming that you would like to venture into, since it does not take much of your time. I hope you have learned a lot. I have been your host, Diana Mbogwa. This has been Hela Mchangani. Do join me next time, same time, in a different location.